Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Encourage your Filipinas learning and development. I want to talk about that today because this channel, Love Beyond the Sea, is about helping foreigners learn about being with a Filipino wife, especially in marriage, like we've been for about 7.5 years. And when your wife is with you, and even before that happens, I think it's important to try to encourage her development, to try to be exposed to new experiences and learn things. Excuse me, this could be, well, it's all educational when you're learning something. So I guess I'm saying I want to encourage you to look at opportunities to help her to grow, see different things, go different places. Maybe you haven't quite thought that far ahead, but my wife's been here for 7 years now, so I've had a chance to put some thoughts together. So let me know what you think about ways to develop your Filipino wife or to encourage it. One, right off the top of my head, driving. You don't see many females driving cars in the Philippines, at least not where I've been. That's usually what the men do. You might see a woman on a scooter, motorcycle, but mostly driving is the men. But over there in the Philippines, you can just get a ride. It's not hitchhiking, but because you're paying for it, you just stand out somewhere and somebody comes around with a scooter and a sidecar, and you get in and pay probably 8 to 10 pesos and for each ride. But you can't do that in the United States. In other words, unless your husband is going to take you everywhere all the time, which is really tough if you're both working in different hours or shifts, then she's going to have to learn how to drive. My wife learned how to drive, I think, very well. She was about 27, driving course nearby for adults, so it's not with the high school kids. And that was certain number of hours of behind the wheel, certain number of hours of learning the rules and stuff like that. And she got her license, and then, we had different shifts come up on her jobs, or was it different starting times? I know both are true, but she had to get another car. So we hashed out all the details for that, and she's very proud of her car. And that allows her some independence, which she wants. Probably all Filipinas would. And speaking of driving, another way you can help encourage your development is to travel. You might learn something yourself, go to places you've never been. My wife likes to drive through the Midwest, but we've been further away, like Paris and Tokyo. And for her to see something like the Louvre area in Paris and see the Eiffel Tower, we saw that about 4 times. It's great. She can say in movies, I was there, I know what it's like, or see in a book, I was there, I know what that's like. Tokyo, now she knows what it's like on a rainy day in January in Tokyo, Japan. And hopefully we can keep adding some international destinations. I think that's been fun and educational for me as well as my wife. Now, to do some of these things, she probably has to be making some money, so employment is another way to encourage her development. I don't know what the percentage is for Filipinas that come over here and say, yes, I definitely want to work, but I would think it would be pretty high. My wife always insisted that, and so she has. She works 5 days a week, 6 days a week, so she has plenty of money to help herself and us and her family. She's had many building projects she's been involved with. So when she's working, eventually, she probably has some idea what she's good at, and try to find a job for her that she would excel at. Now, my wife has done really well in manufacturing. She's done incredibly well. And I think it's very sought after at work. They want her to stay there. But I always try to help her to learn new skills. Volunteer to go over there. Volunteer to learn how to do this or be a part of that. Learn new skills. Try to stretch yourself, push yourself. Something I wish I had thought about when I was younger But now that I worked for 40 years, I realize some things are better than others when it comes to your employment. And then, like, if there's a committee or something that pops up that you can sign up for, I would want her to do that also. Then there's education, literally going to school. There are Filipinas that want to get an education, but they also may have a degree in the Philippines in some field, let's say nursing, for example, teaching, I don't know. Then they come over to America or another country, and not everything transfers over exactly the same, so she would need to get some college, some kind of schooling to get everything caught up. And if she hasn't been to school for a while, a few years or more, it can be kind of tough to get back into behind the wheel, so to speak. But education is just another way, if she's inclined, and you can work that out. My wife's employer is paying for her college, but it's taking a lot of time every day, a lot of time, many hours a day. And hopefully it'll be all over with in about 12 months from now. But it's important for her. She thinks it is. I think it can be. She's learned a lot from her classes, doing things she hadn't had to do before. And she stretched herself there. And I think in the end, it will be a good thing that she went and got her degree. You could encourage her to volunteer for social causes. She could volunteer using her abilities in church, for example. It's best to keep a woman from another country busy, occupied, but not doing menial things. She's a person with skills and intelligence and potential, and I would think you'd want her to try to tap as much of that potential as possible. Now, there may be some apprehensions about teaching her to drive or letting her work, or some apprehensions with education, maybe being around the wrong people, but she can't be just locked up inside. That's definitely going to stunt her development. I've told my wife, you have many opportunities abroad that she didn't have before, and I'd like to see what she can do with those opportunities. And so far, I've seen much growth from my love beyond the sea.